As far as I know, this is the only museum like this in the state of Texas.
After years of planning, in fall 2016, Chuck Conrad opened his Texas Museum of Broadcasting and Communications, housing thousands of antique radios and televisions at 416 East Main Street in Kilgore.
Chuck has built an incredible museum here. He's been known for his collection a lot longer than the museum's been around. I had no idea he had collected all of this.
I've driven to New England, I've driven to Ohio, I've driven to Florida, to Houston, to Dallas, Austin, lots of places to just go pick things up, just to save them from the dumpster, if nothing else, because this is neat stuff. In fact, if you went to my car barn, which is where all this stuff was, and if you'd never been there before, you probably wouldn't think anything's missing. The flood has not quite finished yet. I think we're going to fill this building up. The building's big. It's 18,000 square feet.
We have another room that has some of that same equipment, but has a telecruiser in it. You don't see these telecruisers. There's not that many of them left.
The crown jewel of the museum and a 10-year labor of love for Chuck is his 1949 Dumont telecruiser, one of the first mobile television units of its kind. Chuck's just happens to be the first one sold by Dumont Laboratories.
Serial number 101, I wondered about that for a long time, but I eventually got some documentation that it's the first one. In fact, this thing is on the cover of the 1949 Dumont Broadcast Equipment Catalog, which I think is kind of cool. And it's this one, not one just like it. This drives, this runs, and it actually makes TV pictures too, which is pretty amazing. Watch your step, though. Did I mention they chain smoked inside here too? Most of the interior in here is all original, and it didn't look like this when I got it. It had this it was kind of brownish looking. You really couldn't tell, and it was all nicotine. This is definitely the most unique item that I own, at least I think so. I mean, there aren't any more for a starter. I know of two other TV mobile units of this era. One that is probably just a hair newer than this, and one that's just a hair older. One of them is at least intact, but it needs everything. And the other one would be what you would call, in automotive terms, a heroic restoration. And in fact, the TV station used this thing until 1972, when they retired it and it got sold at an auction. The people who bought it paid $750 for it.
In only a year's time, the museum has been featured in numerous news and media stories, gaining a reputation that matches its originality and giving Kilgore one more unique attraction.
With a dream to educate the younger generation about the history of radio and television,
now there's a new museum that showcases how far broadcasting has come.
It's called the Texas Museum of Broadcasting and Communications.
Good evening and welcome to the Texas Museum of Broadcasting and Communications in Kilgore, Texas.
He's the founder of the city's new museum.
I'm Chuck Conrad and you're not. I think one of my favorites is our RCA TK41 color camera, which is serial number 40. It's a very early TV camera, and it's gigantic. This thing is a beast. It weighs 340 pounds.
Conrad says the museum came into mind as he was giving a tour of his radio station to a group of Cub Scouts.
And I got around to telephones. I said most people didn't have phones, and the kids said, so how'd they get on the internet? Being able to share this with people is the big joy. And I think that's the truth with a lot of different hobbies. We're not just a museum, we're also kind of an event center. We've been doing dinners and parties, and we had the Shakespeare Festival cast and crew here a few nights ago. That was a wonderful event. Kids are fascinated because they've never seen this stuff. Hand them a dial telephone and ask them what's wrong with it, and you'll get some interesting answers. They grew up with a tablet or something in their hand all their lives. They've had this. Actually, people find all these things are interesting just because they're significant parts of their life. I mean, everybody has explored radio and TV. That's how we've got all our information for years and years. It may be changing a bit, but it's still video, and still a podcast is really just radio. So the delivery method may be a little different, but the product's the same.
I love just seeing people's faces when they see these radios and the TVs.
This is our heritage as radio operators. This is a trip down a memory lane to a world I'd never known.
September 2017 marks the one-year anniversary of the Texas Museum of Broadcasting and Communications. And Chuck Conrad and his crew are eager to introduce more visitors to Kilgore and to the golden age of broadcasting.
Thank you. Come see us in Kilgore. The museum is open Fridays and Saturdays from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. or by appointment. Our brand new exciting Studio 4 is now available for your party or special event. Find us on Facebook at Texas Museum of Broadcasting and Communications or online at txmbc.org.